Deep Cinema. This evening we're going to be talking about a game of Sherlock Holmes, a Game of Shadows. And this is the spoiler section where we can talk about anything we want in the movie that interests us. So, let's get right to it. The first thing I wanted to bring up was how strong the human element was. This movie was not a drama. It was an action thriller all the way through. But there was a tremendous amount, I thought, of a human element, particularly the tension between Holmes and Watson, with Holmes clinging to the adventuresome young single guy camaraderie of single guys, and Watson wanting to move on, not so much leaving Holmes behind, but stepping into his new life as husband.
Absolutely. That is what really impressed me about this movie, was that I actually cared about these characters more than just the plot. That I could feel for their relation. It just evoked similar experiences I'd had in my life.
Yeah.
And it was just very, very real.
Yes.
Very real. So to open, we find out pretty quickly in the movie that Watson is engaged and soon to be married, and Holmes is his best man.
Yes.
Yes, Holmes forgets his bachelor party.
I don't think so. I disagree. Holmes doesn't forget his bachelor party.
That's true.
Holmes plans his bachelor party, and Holmes hijacks Watson's bachelor party.
That's true.
He hijacks it on purpose. The only person that Watson knows there is Holmes's older brother. I believe it's his older brother.
Yeah, Minecraft.
That's where we were introduced to Stephen Fry.
Yes.
As Minecraft.
And I think, older brother. Yeah.
Well, I think older brother because Minecraft calls him Shirley.
Yeah, calls him Shirley. That sounds like an older brother thing.
That's something an older brother would do.
Yeah, and we see that Minecraft and Sherlock Holmes are they are almost equal in their mental abilities.
Yes.
But Holmes uses his to make war.
And Minecraft uses his in a shadowy kind of unknown way.
Exactly.
He's referred to as being indispensable in British politics.
But when Watson's wife is with Minecraft later on, we feel as the audience that she is completely safe with him.
Yes, this is true. This is true. We were definitely given that impression. But I really enjoyed how the movie self-consciously tried to bring out not just Holmes, the adventuresome young man life, single guy, versus the married man, stable guy. Not just brought out those two characters bouncing against each other, but they really brought out the whole question of how do young men deal with that. Watson says, okay, one last adventure, and he's willing to go with Holmes. Holmes
is feeling abandoned.
Holmes is feeling abandoned, but at the same time, Holmes overcomes his own selfishness, his own desire for Watson to go on adventures, and brings Watson to Watson's wedding. He gets Watson to the wedding on time, and basically dressed, even though he's still quasi-drunk.
Yes. That was funny. And then the wedding scene, what was it you said about it?
The movie treated the wedding scene as something sacred.
Yes.
And I use the word sacred because it would have been so easy for Holmes to hijack the wedding scene as well. And so many other movies have done that. But Holmes loved his friend enough to say, no, this is what Watson needs to do. And he kept that special for Watson. There was no business of Holmes conducted. No crimes were being taken care of. The wedding scene was Watson and his wife with Holmes there. It was very refreshing. Now, at the end, after Watson had left, I believe, he then meets up with Moriarty's right-hand man.
That's right. Well, was that before or after he went into the college and spoke to Moriarty directly?
That was before, because Moriarty's right-hand man invites him to the college.
That's right.
So, after the wedding is over, it picks right up. Bam. Right back into the action.
That's right, yeah.
But in between there's a brief interlude. It's like... The only thing I can describe it as sacred. The movie treated that wedding and the marriage as sacred. And
a short but beautiful, simple scenes.
Yes.
That got its point across very well.
And Holmes did a very good job of removing, and I use that word carefully, Watson's wife from the scene, putting her safely out of harm's way.
Yes, on the train.
On the train. He didn't try to drag her along with it. And it was funny,
yes.
and it ticked off Watson, but Watson implicitly trusted Holmes. He got angry, but he realized that's what had to be done, because when men go to war, having a woman in the way is not a good idea. Having a woman in harm's way, not in the way, but in harm's way is not a good idea.
Well,
but
we do have the gypsy lady, though.
The gypsy lady was part of the war, though.
Yeah.
It was not Watson's wife's war. She should not have to be dragged into that.
That's true.
But what was interesting was, even though Holmes removed her from harm's way, she still played a vital part of it. She was the one that was instrumental in removing from Moriarty all of his wealth.
That's
if you remember
right.
That scene.
That's right.
She still played a vital role in the final victory, yet out of harm's way. It shows, I think that would be typical of Holmes's character. Brilliant yet compassionate. Brilliant, compulsively doing his job, and yet planning everything so as to keep innocent people out of harm's way. Innocent people that he very much cared about. That's the other thing that came up. Holmes was pressured by Moriarty to act, because Holmes petitioned Moriarty to leave Watson and his wife out of this, that it was a battle between them. Moriarty said no. Moriarty did the low thing. Moriarty did the terrorist type, using hostages against Holmes. Holmes says, fine, I'll be bigger than you. I will remove them from harm's way, and I'll take you down.
Right.
Holmes refused to play his game. That's one of the reasons why I think the movie was a strong portrayal of good character. Yes. Because Holmes consistently stepped up to the plate, having a confidence that doing the right thing. I don't want to go trite and say doing the right thing would win out in the end. Doing the right thing is right, regardless of how it ends.
Right.
And so Holmes had the courage to say, okay, fine, if this is the game we gotta play, then I'll meet you where you're at.
There's no question that Holmes is on the right side.
There is no question, and there's no hesitancy in Holmes.
No hesitancy.
There's no...
Yeah, agreed.
There's no wishy-washy, weak-willed wandering.
Even though we learned, and maybe he learned in this movie, that he is not perfect.
That was a very excellent part of the movie that you do not see in the books, and you didn't see in the first movie. In the first movie, Holmes didn't make any mistakes. He had everything figured out. In this movie, he clearly makes mistakes, and yet he still conquers, because he mans up and he steps up to the task every time, including the scene at the end, the final battle.
The final battle, which begins as a chess game. Oh my goodness, the chess game. And they're using real people as their pieces, and they're playing with real chess pieces. And one of the chess pieces, the real people who was a chess piece, was the gypsy lady's brother.
Yes, that's an interesting thing. Before we finish on the chess game scene, I think we should talk about the gypsy lady's brother a little bit. That movie portrayed well, I think, how you can have...
Accurately,
when I say well, it portrayed it in the form of a story that we can identify with. We can ask ourselves, which person am I in the story? All of life is a story, and all of our lives are stories, and we have to understand who we are, what role are we playing. And one of the best ways we do that is by learning other stories, by watching other stories.
So the final showdown between Moriarty and Holmes on the balcony in Switzerland with a chessboard. And we hear both of them talking in their minds. They are yin and yang.
Yes.
They are.
Isn't that interesting that both of them have complete faith in their second-in-commands?
Yes.
Holmes has, in the ballroom, Minecraft.
That's true. And Watson.
And the gypsy lady.
Right.
Of those three...
Whose name escapes me.
Whose name is Sim. I believe her name is Sim.
Okay, Sim. Right.
Of those three, Watson is definitely Holmes's bishop, as the
Right.
game is.
Right.
Now, Moriarty has Sim's brother and the colonel, the sharpshooter.
Right.
The face-off, as Holmes and Watson talk through the battle that they know is raging in the ballroom, is fascinating.
Yes.
The interplay of how all the threads that are, I think rightfully so in the movie, left to the story itself and not to the direct management of Holmes.
Truly the clash of two titans.
Exactly. And what made them so powerful was that not only were they themselves gifted, but they were able to train other gifted people to work for them to carry out their mission when they were not there.
We got to see them fight, but it never even actually happened.
Yes, that's very interesting. We saw...
They also both had complete confidence in what they knew and their own abilities.
Yes. We saw a clash of two men who were true men in that neither one of them wavered.
And they were perfectly matched. And the only way that Holmes got the final victory was to sacrifice himself for the greater good.
And he did so unhesitatingly, which is interesting as we compare Holmes to Moriarty's bishop.
Right.
Moriarty's man with the unreal face, Sim's brother. Sim's brother bemourned his death. He sent a letter to his sister.
Right.
I'm going to die. You're never going to see me again. He was not brave. He willingly went to his death, and yet part of him rebelled against it. Holmes had planned.
Holmes
for
has
that.
said, oh, okay, well, this is what we gotta do.
Done. Let's do it.
Yep. And he was smart about it because we got to see in our final scene with Watson the oxygen thing that belonged to Minecraft.
Yes.
And personally, I wish they had left it at that. I wish they had had the guts to give us a true
cliffhanger.
Yeah, a real cliffhanger. That would have been a real cliffhanger, I suppose, because we would have known that Holmes was alive and we wouldn't have known anything else.
True.
And that would have totally set it up for a sequel, which I assume they're going to continue.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so as well. So, yeah, I wish they had done that. It was a funny joke to have him with his urban camouflage at the end.
That was funny.
That was funny.
It made the movie a little bit more lighthearted.
Yes.
A little bit less serious.
Yes.
Which they could have gotten away with just leaving the package. By the time when the package was delivered, and Watson said, well, was it our ordinary postman?
Yes.
Then he opened the package or was it somebody strange? I knew then that Holmes was still alive.
I knew the moment his wife said he had a package. Because why would they show that
Why would they show that in a movie?
Unless it had anything to do with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, but overall, great movie.
Overall,
that's just a nitpick of mine.
Me personally,
like we said,
I was
the spoiler-free review.
Yeah.
Great movie. People, we highly recommend you watch it. It's definitely worth seeing.
Definitely.
Real hero. A real hero.
Fighting
real
hero
heroically.
Fighting. I don't want to say that other heroes aren't real, but Sherlock Holmes.
No, but this was a good example of
This was a good example of a very human hero, a very practical hero, a practical hero with a practical villain, and lots of good human elements.
Yes.
To mix in a lot of good drama to help you understand where the characters emotionally live. All wrapped up into one very energetic action film.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, Sherlock Holmes, The Game of Shadows.